Good afternoon, gang. It's Chris Angel coming at you with another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. That's right. Marketing for those of us who don't want to chase the algorithms, play the games. We just want to make real connections with real human beings. That is what this show is about, and that is what we're doing here. So, I have a background in real estate. I don't know if you knew this, but I got into real estate at the age of 24 and sold real estate for 6.5 years and then became a CEO of a real estate company for 5. And then moved on and started my own coaching and consulting company. But in real estate, we used to say, under all is the land. I think that's a realtor-like thing. I don't know if that's a, Hank, you're on here. Do you know? Is that a realtor thing? Like the tagline of the National Association of Realtors? I don't know. But under all is the land, right? And on top of that, we sell houses. Well, in marketing, under all is content. Under all is content. Why? So let's just break this down. This is an important distinction, gang, because when you understand this, you start to see where marketing fits and how to play the game such that you don't have to chase the algorithms, okay? So if we understand this, marketing is about relationship. I've said that every episode, I think, up to this point, but marketing is about relationship. And to the degree you create relationship is the degree that you make sales, right? Or you create trust and an environment in which sales are made. So if the game is relationship, right, then what is the mechanism that creates relationship? And the mechanism, my friends, is content. Content is the mechanism that creates the relationship. So if you can see this under Facebook, under YouTube, under Instagram, under Snapchat, under blogs, under emails, under everything, under all the strategies, under all the books you've read, all the courses you've taken, under all of that, is a conversation with your audience, your fans, the people you seek to serve. It's a conversation. And the conversation digitally happens through your content. That's how that actually happens, right? The conversation, by the way, do you know that relationship exists inside of conversation? Without conversation, it's hard to have a relationship, right? Now, you might say, oh, well, you know, my childhood friend, I haven't seen them in forever, but we were best friends and we had coffee and it had been 20 years and it was like no time had passed. Okay, fine. But for most of us to develop a relationship, right? And by the way, how did you create that relationship with your best friend from 20 years ago? Well, it was through conversations. And then you didn't talk about something for a long time and then you were able to reconnect. But when we're trying to establish relationship, it happens through conversation. Now, how do you have conversation in a digital age? You have it through your content. Under all is content. Just like in real estate, under all is the land. Under all in marketing is content. And that is how you nurture the relationship, right? That's how the relationship develops. So this is important, right? Because let's take that a step further. As you start to think about, let's use Facebook ads as an example. As you think about Facebook ads, under Facebook ads is what? Content. And the goal of content is what? Relationship. Do you see? It's not that we're going around in circles, but you're starting to see that there are some very common, some very simple principles underneath all of this, right? In the mix of all this. Ultimately, it's about relationship. In the tribal economy, currency is transparency, authenticity, and vulnerability. And all of that is to serve relationship because that is how people decide that they want to work with you. Here's what's cool. I got off of a recording with a client today. We did some interviews for his show, and he's a mortgage guy. And he said, and one of the groups that he is wanting to attract through his show are realtor partners, right? Real estate agents who would refer him. And he had a realtor reach out to him that he'd never met, who said, "Listen, I've listened to all your episodes, and I want to use you as my lender." Now I think today we recorded like episode 15 and 16. So he had 14 episodes out, and these episodes are probably 20 or 30 minutes long. And this real estate agent had listened to all the episodes, all of them, before ever reaching out to my client saying, "I want to work with you." But after she listened to all of them, she reached out and said, "I want to work with you as my lender." Why does that happen? Well, what was created? Isn't it cool that he was able to create 20 episodes, or I guess in this case, 14 episodes, and there was a relationship created. From what? From his content, from his content. And that is the power of this, gang. Like, I mean, he and I have been, let's see, if we're doing a weekly show, so it's been about 14 weeks that his show has been out because he does a weekly show. And it's not that she found his, here, this is the cool part. It's not that she found his shows 14 weeks ago. I would guess she probably found his shows in the last couple weeks, and she probably binged listened, because that is native behavior now for people in our non-TV, in our, our Apple TV age or our Roku or whatever. Like, we binge episodes. And so she probably found his show a couple weeks ago, binged all 14 episodes, reached out to him and said, I want you to be my lender. That happened from content. That happened from content. And she came into it wanting the relationship. She was the one reaching out. Hey, you're my guy. I heard your stuff. I need to work with you. And this is not the only client that this has happened to. And the reason why, gang, it's not, listen, you want to know the secret? It's nothing magical that we do on our end, in the sense of, like, I mean, we do some magic in my marketing agency, because I just believe that we draw out of you what you're passionate about, and we hold space for that. But in the reality, at the end of the day, what we're really doing is having a conversation with you. There's nothing tricky about it, right? There's no like 7 steps to how to have a perfect episode. We're just having a conversation about something that my client is passionate about, and that attracts his clients. When you speak from your passion, people feel that energy. But the reality is, a lot of you in your content, you're speaking from a script. You're speaking from what you think you're supposed to say, right? And the challenge with that is that people feel that also, right? When you try to do a scripted video and say something smart for a second, you don't come off as you. And so people don't want to build relationship with you from that kind of content, because it doesn't feel authentic. And currency in the tribal economy is authenticity, right? Andrea, thank you. Andrea says, I love doing interviews with you. Thank you, Andrea. I love the work that you're up to. It's so good. But isn't that cool? Like, under all is content. And if you're going to, so guess what? The game is content, right? We need to create content to create relationship. And so then let's finish it with this. If the game is to create content to create relationship, then you need to find a way to consistently create content. And I would suggest not just consistently create it, but create it in a way that it feels authentic for you, that it feels passionate for you. Some of you don't want to go Facebook Live like I'm doing right now, talking to a camera. I'm talking to my phone. I'm looking into my phone, into the camera of my phone, and I'm talking. Some of you don't want to do that, and that's why we created the marketing agency, where you could be interviewed by somebody else who pulls out of you the things that you have to say for the world. Look, you all have something to say. You all have something to say to the world. Most of you already know that or sense it. Some of you don't sense it yet, and you're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what I have to say to the world. Well, okay, well, hang in there. Life will serve it up for you on a silver platter. But every day, life is teaching you something. And if you would press in and listen to what life is teaching you then the point of that is not just so that you get to hoard life's lessons. But I think part of that is so that you get to turn around and share it with the rest of us. That's part of what that's for. And guess what? When you do that, you actually show up not only as a leader, but as somebody who is conscientious and has a heart and is a cool human being. So you all have something to share with us, and it's in the relationship. Mike, I saw that Mike was on here. Some of you have a hard time connecting content to what it is that you sell. And you think that your content has to be specifically about what you sell, right? Some industries are better overlapped with the things you sell. For example, I'm doing a show called Marketing for the Rest of Us. This content is about marketing, and I have a marketing agency. So it's very closely related. My content in this show is very closely related to what it is that I sell in a marketing agency, right? Now, I have another show called Important Work. That's a weekly show, not a daily show. And that show is about interviewing other people about their important work and capturing that for others who are on the path of finding their important work. Now, it's not as directly connected to what I sell, is it? But here's what's cool. In my show, it does showcase what it is that I do. So I've found a way to make it relate to my show, because in the middle of my show and at the end, I have a mid-roll. I have an ad that says basically like, look, do you have important work? Would you like a show like this? We can help you create a show just like this, blah, 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 for your important work. So I'm able to tie it back. But industries like real estate are harder to do that in your content. You can't do that in your content in real estate necessarily, because most people aren't interested in you talking about real estate all the time. The average buying cycle in real estate is 7 to 9 years. So what are you going to talk about real estate for 7 years? It's not relevant for most people. For you, a show about marketing is relevant if you're a business person, because you want to know today, tomorrow, this week, next month, what to do in marketing. And so this content about marketing is relevant to you right now. But if you're in real estate, I'll just keep using the real estate example, but if you're in real estate, for you to talk about real estate for 7 years, when most of us aren't in the buying cycle of real estate, it's not relevant. So if your industry is not, financial planning is another one of these, right? Like once I have a financial planner and a financial plan set up and a 401k and IRA, whatever I have set up, if you're a financial planner, you talking about financial plans is not relevant for me most of the time. So you have to find another inroad to content in order to build that relationship. Do you see? So this is why I say, like, under all is content, and the goal of content is relationship. And so if that's the goal, then you have to have content that will build relationship. If you're a financial planner, talking about financial plans or stocks doesn't build relationship, because most of us don't care. If you're a real estate agent, talking about real estate for 7 out of 8 or 9 years, we don't care. It doesn't matter, because we don't care. And so it doesn't build relationship. So you have to find, this is where you guys have to start to think as humans and not as your industry professionals, right? If you're a lawyer, right, you can't just talk about lawyering all the time, because for most of us, we're not in a season of life where we need a lawyer. It's not relevant. You can't build relationship there. There is a time where you will want content, evergreen content, that lives on your website, lives on your YouTube channel, that lives somewhere, that is specifically about what it is you do and why you're good at what you do professionally, right? And you can even use your content, your relational content, the stuff that creates connection and relationship, that isn't about what you sell. You can even use that content to point people to the evergreen content about what you do professionally. Because once there's relationship, I want to learn more about you. Oh, you're a lawyer? Cool. I want to learn more about what do you do? How do you do that? And not necessarily because I need your services right now, but because I'm interested in you as a human being. Same thing as a real estate agent, right? Like if you want to inspire kids to have a life plan. You want to inspire kids to set goals and think about life and show up and work hard. And that is sort of the place in which you build relationship with parents and the kids of parents. That is interesting to me. As a parent, that's interesting to me, because you're giving me insights about my kid. I might even have my kid listen to your content, because I want to develop my kids. That type of content is relevant. And in the middle of that content, if I find out that you're a real estate agent, I go, wow, thank God there are like conscientious humans in real estate that I could actually use when the time comes to buy and sell a house. But for most people, that's right. If you're in an industry that is harder to build relationship on with the thing you sell because of the buying cycle, financial planning, lawyers, attorneys, right? Real estate agents, mortgage brokers. There's a lot of industries like that, plumbers. Then you have to find another inroad to relationship with your content. So here's the takeaway, and I will leave you to it. Start figuring out what is the inroad to relationship through what are you going to talk about? And you know what's interesting? Here's a great place to start. Here's the question to answer. The question to answer is, outside of your industry, and listen, unless your industry is very closely related to what it is you sell and what people are interested in, like marketing, I sell to business people, and marketing is a daily thought process for business people. So that works for me. But notice I'm not pimping out my agency, right? I'm actually talking about the principles of marketing to help you, to educate you, to give you perspective. And if you like what I have to say and it builds relationship with you, you might reach out to me and say, I really like how you think about marketing. I'd like to work with you. That's how a lot of clients come to me. But if you're in another industry, then here's the question to answer, right? What can you talk about on a daily or weekly basis and never get tired of? What can you talk about on a daily or weekly basis and never get tired of? You, the marketer, you, the business person, you, the human, trying to reach a bunch of other people. What can you talk about on a daily or weekly basis and never get tired of? It's probably more than one thing. There are probably a handful of things. Write them all down. And those are potential inroads. Those are potential places to create content from that will attract your tribe. Isn't it cool? Side note, I was teaching a class years ago about this whole tribe concept, right? And I asked the class, like, what do you like to do? And somebody in the back of the room said, I like to scuba dive. And right away, somebody in the front row turns around, says, you like to scuba dive? I like to scuba dive. And they had this brief 20 or 30 second conversation in the middle of my class. I didn't ask them to do that. They just did that because their passion took over. And that is the power of shared interest, right? And it's just a spark. Guys, it's just a spark. Your content is a spark to a deeper relationship. You will have opportunity for deeper conversations, other conversations that will lead who knows where, but they'll be sparked from this common interest that we share. So if you have a passion for, I taught this same class in a different place. It was in Portland, and somebody said, I love shopping. Perfect. How many other people love shopping? If you have perspective about shopping, do that. Interior design. You want to talk about interior design. You want to talk about parenting, about marriage. You want to talk about horses. You want to talk about golf. There's a lot of inroads to relationship with people in your content. And just know that your content is simply the place the relationship starts. It's not confined to that topic, to the topic of your show. It's just where the relationship starts. And I want you to think about your content that way. Your content is the place the relationship starts. And people, and once it starts, people will come back because they like that conversation too. But it's not confined. Once you have that relationship and people reach out to you, they might private message you on Facebook. I've had people message me on LinkedIn. I've had people email me. People will reach out to you. And when they do, you can take the conversation in a lot of different directions. So that's where we're going to end here, gang. Go answer the question. If you could talk about what could you talk about on a daily or weekly basis and never get tired of? Write all those ideas out, and those become potential places to create a show from or to create content from. All right, that's it for now. If you have comments or questions, please put them in the comment. I'd love to circle back and hear what resonated with you, what questions you have after hearing this. But until next time, I'll see you tomorrow because we'll do another episode tomorrow. But until then, have a good night and take care.